this video, we're going to focus on the phrase 有点, and it means, generally, it means a little too. So, and the formula is 有点 plus adjective. So 有点 comes before an adjective. Let me show you this. This looks a little complicated, but it's really not that bad. When I put these things in parentheses, I'm basically saying there are options of different ways to say this phrase. You could, 有 literally means to have, 点 means a little. It means a little or a little too, or a bit too, whatever. It can be said with the word e in the middle there, just like 一点 by itself can sometimes drop the e. So here it can happen too. You can say 有点, you could say 有一点, and you can choose to have an r at the end of the 点 as well, or not. So we can say there's actually like 4 options that are all similar. And once you get used to them, your brain doesn't even hear the difference, basically. But we have 有点, 有一点, we have 有点, and 有一点. So those are all, that's the pinyin for the same thing. Okay, so what does this mean? It's put before adjectives to say a little adjective, like today it's a little cold. Generally, this is used to have like a complaining, I don't like, it's a bit, that's why I said a little too, a bit too. It's like, it's used the vast majority of times in a sort of complaining or I don't like what I'm talking about. Let me give you some examples. 天气, here's the pinyin. I thought I didn't have it. 天气有点冷. 天气, the weather. 有点冷 is a bit cold. 有点冷. So the weather is like kind of like the weather today, or the weather is a little bit too cold. I don't like it. So it's not just it could be like it is not saying it's extremely cold. It's just saying it's a bit too cold for my liking. Does that make sense? So it isn't extreme. It is a little, but it's often a little too whatever, more than I'd like. 我有点不高兴. I 有点不高兴, not happy. I'm a bit not happy. I'm a little not happy. So here it doesn't mean too, because you wouldn't say I'm a little too not happy. I mean, I guess you could say that. But generally the point is, I'm expressing a negative thing. I'm not happy and I'm a little not happy. It's negative. So it's either like you're saying it's too much, that thing, or you're saying it's like it's a negative thing, like not being happy. Here we go. 他点的菜有点少. This is a fun sentence because we have 2 uses of diǎn here. This diǎn is actually a verb meaning to order, like to order food. So that's what this means here. 他点的菜, the food that he ordered. The food that he ordered. 他点的菜. What 菜? The food that he ordered. 他点的菜有点少 is a little bit few. Now we wouldn't say that. We would say it was a little... we say he didn't order enough. He didn't order quite enough. 他点的菜有点少 is a bit few, or what's the few when it's not countable? It wouldn't be few. It would be something else. But anyway, I'm having trouble working that out in my brain and how to say that in English. But 他点的菜有点少 is a bit. So he didn't quite order enough. What he ordered was a little bit too, not enough. Man, how do you say a quantity is small when it's not countable? Like the volume of something is too little? I don't know. Okay, there we have it. That's 有点. And in the next little clip, I'm going to tell you the difference. I'm going to kind of contrast 有点 with 一点, because I don't know if you've noticed, but they are different. So, and it's confusing because in English, they can often both be translated a little or a bit, but in Chinese, 一点 and 有点 are different. So we're going to go through that in just a second. In this video, we're going to talk about a comparison between 一点 and 有点 in this segment. So it is a bit confusing. And the problem is there are there's a couple of uses of each of these. And it can be confusing because they can both be translated a little, but in Chinese, especially if you're going from English to Chinese in your brain, like you're saying a little something, probably you're gonna gravitate toward using yìdiǎn. The common mistake that people make is to say yìdiǎn when they mean to say, when they should say yǒudiǎn. So yìdiǎn, just a couple of points. First, the e can often be dropped if it doesn't start a sentence. Like you can't just say diǎn, meaning a little. You have to say yìdiǎn if it's starting something. But if it's after something, you can basically always drop the e part of it if you want to. You don't have to. Yìdiǎn precedes nouns. So when it's saying a little of a noun, like 一点水, a little water. 我想吃一点东西. I want to eat a little thing, a little something. So whenever you want to say a little or a bit of something, then that something is a noun. Then a little of something, it's 一点 something. And I'll get back to this in a moment. But in contrast, when you say a little of an adjective, like a little cold or a little too much or a little unhappy, that kind of thing, then you don't say yìdiǎn adjective, like we just talked about, it's yǒudiǎn adjective. And so that's the big distinction. That's when they're going to normally get confused. I also want to point out here the different here. I said they both precedes adjectives. Okay. My notes here are not very helpful. I just realized they are confusing. This is follow adjective, first of all. Okay, so what? No. I'm sorry. It is precedes. Okay, so they can both precede something. That's the difference here. All right, I get it. All right, sorry about that. I got a little bit screwed up. So yìdiǎn precedes nouns, yǒudiǎn precedes adjectives. That's the thing. The most important thing to remember, that yǒudiǎn precedes adjectives, and it tends to be negative, or saying a bit too of something, where this preceding nouns has no negative or positive connotation, except for the actual meaning of the words. So does that make sense? It can be used to say positive, negative, neutral, whatever. It just means a little of something. Where this is normally used to say something negative. But this precedes adjectives and this precedes nouns. That's the biggest thing. I also wanted to point out number one here. Yǒudiǎn can actually mean like it can be a separate thing. It's not a phrase, where it means to have a little. So if it's to have a little, it's actually this meaning, to have a little of something. And so I just wanted to point that out, that sometimes you'll see those two words together when it doesn't mean that like a little of an adjective thing. It just means a little somebody has a little of something, and that's important to note. Now, finally, yìdiǎn can also be used with adjectives, but it comes after the adjective and it has a comparative meaning in that case. So yǒudiǎn will never follow an adjective, by the way. It's always before an adjective. So let me give you an example. Like it could look like this. I could say, I wanted to say 今天. 今天好点儿了. So yìdiǎn, I dropped the e. Like I said, it can be dropped anytime if that doesn't start a sentence. 好点了. Okay, what does that mean? This means, I should put some pinyin here for you. 今天. Sorry about my haphazard writing here. I'm kind of doing it on the fly. So 今天好点了. This means today. 好 means good. 点 or yìdiǎn, la. So the la means that there's been a change. That's all that means. And so if yìdiǎn comes after the adjective, it's comparative. So it means that good, but it's more good, so better. So today is a little better. Does that make sense? Today something is a little bit better. So if someone says, "How's your cold?" and you say 今天好点儿了, it means today it's a bit better. And so that's how it works. When yìdiǎn comes after an adjective, it is comparative. And I think I think we'll have another video in the future that actually talks about comparison. I don't think we've done that already. So I haven't filmed all of these videos in order, so sometimes I forget what we've already talked about. But I think it's coming in the future. We'll have a video about doing comparisons. But the thing that I'm just in this side-by-side comparison here, I'm just trying to make the point that yìdiǎn can follow an adjective, but it has a different function. It means a little bit more or sometimes less of that thing, of the adjective we're talking about. So the main thing though that you need to remember, the most common mistake that people make is to say yìdiǎn adjective like, oh, 今天一点冷. Today a little cold. No, 今天有点冷. Does that make sense? Okay, there you have it. Keep up the good work. You're doing great. You're learning Chinese. You are amazing.